Part 1. The Stakes. The High Costs of Incivility and the Potential Gains of Civility. The next 4 chapters describe the costs of incivility and the surprising benefits of civility. They also show just how rapidly incivility and civility can spread. How we treat others may seem insignificant, but it has important effects on the people around us and the organizations in which we work. Chapter 1. Clueless. Every action done in company ought to be with some sign of respect to those that are present. George Washington. Mike, an executive vice president of an entertainment company, flew to New York to help lay off several people with the general manager, GM, of a firm Mike's company had recently acquired. As Mike broke the difficult news to a loyal employee, he was shocked to see the GM sitting with his feet propped up on the conference table, pecking away on his computer. The GM didn't even bother to glance up from his computer screen, let alone thank his direct report or express his sympathy. Thoughtless actions such as these leave many of us feeling disrespected at work, creating problems that are getting worse by the year. A quarter of the people surveyed by Christine Pearson, a professor at Thunderbird School of Global Management, and me back in 1998, reported that they were treated rudely at least once a week. When I performed the survey again in 2005, that number had risen to nearly half, and when I repeated it again in 2011, it was more than half. In the Civility in America 2016 survey, almost all respondents, 95%, believed we have a civility problem in America. 74% believed it was worse now than it had been a few years ago, and 70% believed incivility had reached crisis proportions. By all accounts, incivility has only gotten worse. As you can probably attest, rude behaviors range widely, from ignoring people, as the GM did, to not listening, to intentionally undermining others. One boss said, "If I wanted to know what you thought, I'd ask you." Another told a rookie, "This assignment is crap," in response to his first project. A leader screamed, "You made a mistake," after an employee overlooked a minor typo in an internal memo. A vice president, upset about the lack of financial information that was not yet available, said over the speakerphone in her car, with other people in it, that this was kindergarten work. Other common examples of incivility include walking out of a conversation due to lack of interest, or answering calls in the middle of meetings. Some leaders behave uncivilly by publicly mocking and belittling people, reminding subordinates of their roles and lesser titles in the organization, teasing direct reports in ways that sting, or taking credit for wins, but pointing the finger at others when difficulties arise. In any of these instances, what matters is not whether people actually were disrespected or treated insensitively, but whether they felt disrespected. Incivility is in the eyes of the recipient. It varies not just by individual, but also by culture, generation, gender, industry, and organization. What you consider uncivil may not be the same thing your boss considers uncivil. And guess what? What you think matters most. Interpreting the trends. So why is incivility getting worse? One factor is globalization. Colleagues from one culture sometimes unknowingly behave or speak in ways that colleagues from other cultures find rude. When taking the subway in Japan, for example, it's polite to stand on the platform to the side of a train's doors, patiently waiting as travelers disembark, before moving to the center and stepping onto the train. In China, everybody races for the doors all at once, and it's not considered impolite. Or consider the experience of my mentor, Ed Lawler, director of the Center for Effective Organizations at the University of Southern California. Years ago, he gave a talk to a group of students in a large auditorium in South Africa. He couldn't figure out why he was putting everyone to sleep. All the students had their heads down the entire time. No eye contact, no friendly nods, no smiles, nothing. Only later did he learn that this gesture, the bowing of the head, signified deference and an immense respect for him. Another factor is generation. Research conducted by Jean Twenge, professor at San Diego State University, reveals that students are about 30% more narcissistic than the average students were 25 years ago.